Hi everyone! I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, another video. Same shirt from the last one, different concept. Okay, I received another video request and it's from, I'm looking at it now, Naturally Ash 1. Hey boo, how you doing? It says, can you do a video explaining your degree, your internship experience, and the responsibilities and tasks you managed during your internship, please? Of course I can. Oh, when I just said, of course I can, that's what I responded to her message. Anyway, sorry, that was funny. I didn't realize I did that. Okay. Into this. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Studies. I know. You're like, you graduated in what now? Let me just explain. My major has 3 emphasis areas, and it's broken down in that major degree title. There we go. That's what I'm thinking of. The Parks, the Recreation, and Tourism Studies part, those are the 3 emphasis areas. The emphasis area I'm in is the recreation part, which is therapeutic recreation. Now you guys could easily just look up what that is, but I'm going to give you kind of like a brief definition. Basically, a therapeutic recreation specialist basically can work in all types of environments. We can work in acute care, long-term care, we can work in hospitals, in the community, just all sorts of things. And we work with people who who were either born with disabilities or have acquired a disability in their life. Like for example, a traumatic brain injury or a spinal cord injury. And like when I say born with, I'm talking like Down syndrome, autism, stuff like that. So what we do is we take recreation and we use it as therapy. It could be anything. It could be anything from like playing cards, or it could be like board games, or something like in the gym, like basketball, things like that. And I know a lot of people think that I'm like a PE teacher, but it's not like that. What we usually do is this process called APIE. It's literally spelled like that, APIE. And it's assessments, planning, implementation, and evaluation. And what it is like this. You have a client, and you do an assessment on them. You find out their background, you find out what their diagnosis is, what kind of things they like to do in their leisure time, stuff like that. Then you have to plan around that. What kind of an activity will benefit this person's needs? And we cater to like cognitive, social, emotional, physical, like all sorts of things that this person could be going through. And then we plan an activity, and that's the P part of API, planning. Then we implement it. We put that plan into action. And then the E is the evaluation. Did it work? What was the outcome with the patient? And should we stick with this plan, or should we kind of modify it and change it to better suit this patient? So it's kind of like that. Like for example, there are some patients that have issues with like their balance. What are some things that we could do to help out a patient with their balance? Well, let's say you have a patient who likes to play pool, but they kind of stop playing pool after their injury, but eventually they are able to at least stand up and they're able to hold themselves up for a certain period of time. Well, when you play pool, which I've done myself, I like to play pool actually, you are working on your balance. You have to like stay upright in order to play pool. So if that client likes to do that, then you're like, hey, we can use this in your treatment and we can improve your balance that way, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, as a therapeutic recreation specialist, what you're doing is you're taking what that person likes to do, but it benefits them either in a way that helps out with like their injury or helps out with their mental functioning, anything like that. So it's something enjoyable they enjoy doing, but there's a purpose to it. If I'm making sense, I hope that's a good enough example. And like I said, I hope it is. So the next part of this question, the first part was explaining my degree, and I think I did that pretty well. If not, then in the comments, just let me know, and I'll try to give out more examples. Next part is my internship experience. All right. My internship was 16 long weeks, and the minimum that you need in order to, like be eligible for certification and to get your degree is you have to do an internship that is 14 consecutive weeks and a minimum of 560 hours. But different facilities may require that you do your internship longer, like the place where I interned at. I interned in a behavioral health hospital, and another way you can say that is mental health or a psych setting. So I worked with adults and adolescents who suffer from like depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, things like that. And it was a very interesting experience. A psych setting was kind of like at the bottom rung for me for places where I wanted to intern at. I originally wanted to intern at a VA hospital, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it's Veterans Affairs, so individuals who are in the military, because I always thought that I wanted to work with the military, kind of give back to them for their service and the things that they have done for us, as the American people. Ooh, hold up. All right, well, I can keep talking. My charger's right here. So I originally wanted to do that, and I did interview at a VA hospital. Unfortunately, they thought the internship would be too stressful for me, and I was like, okay. So I interviewed at this other place, and they liked me, and I started my internship there. And they actually have a military unit, and I have worked with them a little bit here and there, and I kind of discovered that that's not really what I want to do, which is a good thing. I discovered that, that just wasn't obviously for me. The responsibilities and tasks that I managed during my internship. Okay. So, like I was mentioning earlier about API, when I started off as an intern, the first thing I pretty much learned how to do was assessments. And a couple of the questions that are on our assessment, wow, I haven't done an assessment in a few weeks because I just ended my internship. So, hold up a second. What kind of things do they like to do for fun? Who do they enjoy spending time with? Stuff like that. What do they want to work on in treatment? That's a big one. So it's like an interview that you do with the patients that come into the hospital, and you have to get that in within 3 days that they were admitted. So we do a lot of assessments for the activity therapy department. That's the name of the department at the hospital I worked at. It isn't called rec therapy department, but it's the same thing. Yeah, so you do assessments, and then I shadowed a lot of people. I shadowed my supervisor when she led groups. I shadowed the 2 other recreation therapists and also the 2 music therapists. And by shadowing, I mean I join them in their groups. I sit and watch, see how they interact with the patients, how they start an activity, and how they end an activity. And eventually I started leading groups around week 7, week 8. And that was interesting because this is how you lead a group. You gather everybody, you take them to where they need to go. We already have a plan put in place. And then you do the activity with them, and at the end of the activity, you process with them. And by processing, you have questions like, what were we working on? Do you feel like this activity was beneficial for you? What could we have done to make the experience a little bit better for you? And then you have like a question like, I don't know. Sorry, guys. It's been so long since I've done this. I'm like, but anyways. And after you do a group, you have to go and do notes. And what a note is a sheet of paper on every individual patient that was in your group. And you have to do things like, what time did the group start, the date, the topic, like were you working on depression, anxiety? You have a goal, like goal for so-and-so was to engage in a creative expression activity, identifying a positive coping skill they use to decrease depression, something like that. And then you write out how you led the activity, what you wanted from the patients, and then you do a patient response. And did that person engage? Did they not engage? Were they absent? Did they, just things like that. And other duties that I had while being an intern, of course, I'd help out with like little things like delivering things certain places, like either setting up towels in the yoga room or just doing things like that. Other things I did, I had to do a project actually, and my project was I had to keep up with whatever groups were canceled because with activity therapy, we have to provide all patients in the hospital with activity therapy every single day. So, activity therapists also work on um, weekends too. So, all patients get activity therapy Saturday and Sunday. Uh, oh gosh, brain fart. Okay, so my project was to focus on if any groups got canceled, and not very many got canceled, which was very, very good for the department. Some other things I did, I planned a social with the other intern for the residential adolescents. Let me explain that real quick. We have an adolescent unit, and that's an acute unit, meaning they only stay for like a week or two and then they get discharged. Residential adolescents are obviously like boys and girls. They're separated into two different units, and they're like they stay at the hospital for like months. I'm talking like 3 to 6 months. Some stay even longer. I mean, it is what it is. And the way that they can go to socials is if they're like a level 2, a level 3, or a level 4. If they're a level 1, then they can't. So she and I had to plan a social. I had to order pizza and drinks, go pick them up, and then we did like activities with them. We danced with them and stuff like that. And I also had to plan an outing for the girls, for the residential girls. And we ended up going to like an art museum and having lunch, and it was really, really nice. And there were only like 9 girls that went on the outing because sometimes they have outings where like 18 girls go, and it's a lot to juggle. But I mean, that was probably one of the most stressful weeks of my life because we had the social and the outing on the exact same week, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I did those. I survived, as you guys can see. I made it. And now they've hired me for a job. So yay! I start on Monday. I actually put like a quick little message in my last video saying I got the job. So yes, I will be working there. It's only part-time, but I mean, part-time makes more than full-time, so I'm not complaining. So yay! I got myself a job, and obviously they liked me enough to offer me the job, so that's good. I hope this explains what I do. I guess, yeah, that's pretty much all I think I can talk about. If you have any questions about my major, definitely, like, you can look it up, or you could just ask me in the comment section. I'm more than happy to interact with you guys and explain more of what I do. So, yeah, hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope it cleared up any questions. So I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.